Coming in at 4. Feast your eyes on the screen because this is who we have. Anthony Davis.
Are we just in a space with Anthony Davis where he's just gonna always be in the mix, kind of like Tim Duncan?
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna win one.
He's never gonna win it. He's never gonna win it. I've accepted that. He's gonna be the best or second best or third best defender.
He's always gonna be a top 3 defender, but he's just never gonna win it.
When I seen that GM poll, best centers and Wemby's above Anthony Davis, was like, all right, cool. The league just doesn't respect what he does. I don't know what it is. I don't know why they don't respect what he does, but they don't respect what he does. So it's cool.
If I'm being honest with you, Mars, it's because he plays for the Lakers. Because the reason why, and hear me out. When Anthony Davis was playing in New Orleans, he never had the soft tag on him, ever. He wasn't breaking down when he was in New Orleans. He was playing almost, I think 5 of the 6 seasons he played there, he played almost 70 games a year. He never had the soft tag. He gets with the Lakers, he starts to break down, and then he starts to get back in the mix. But there's still that tag of him being soft. So people completely forget how valuable he is with all the other stuff that he does as a defender. I think Anthony Davis, if it wasn't this season that just passed, last season, at the 22-23 season, how much he was on the floor, I think he led the league in rebounding. Nobody talks about that at all. Nobody talks about the fact that he's the glass cleaner that he is. Last season, the year that they went to the Western Conference Championship, there was a legit argument. Anthony Davis is the best defensive player in the game. The reason why the Lakers were what they were as a defensive team was solely, not partially, it was solely because of him. But because he got on the Lakers, and he's been broken down as much as he's been broken down. Now he's gotten that soft tag, so people completely disregard everything else that he does. The glass cleaner that he is, the rim protector that he is, the paint presence that he is. They completely get rid of all of that stuff because we weren't saying that when he was in New Orleans, how good he was as a defender.
Yeah, he still never won a deep over there, but it is what it is. I think he's the best defender in the sport. I mean, maybe by the fans. I think the fans respect him as a defender. I think the voters don't. I think the GMs clearly don't. I think just how good he is defensively. I don't think he's going to win a Defensive Player of the Year award at this point. I think his regular season effort is less consistent, so I think that's going to hold him back. I think at his age, he just can't give as much as he used to on defense on a consistent basis.
He's in his prime. 30 years old.
Everyone ages differently. Anthony Davis.
Wasn't there this entire narrative started by Richard Jefferson or someone that he's the best player to not win MVP or Defensive Player of the Year? Wasn't that whole agenda started? So the media's mind is already turning. If the Lakers surprise this year, if they're like a 50-win team or something like that, I think he'll win it. But you know who doesn't get any love? And I'm surprised that he didn't make anyone's list. Joel Embiid.
I think Joel Embiid is a good thing. The games play for me is the only reason why I'm not too sure about that.
And his regular season effort wanes as well.
I was about to ask you guys, because Gifted, you just said he doesn't play enough. Okay, let's just say he played that many games. I think he finished third in Defensive Player of the Year, and I think it was 18. It was him, Rudy, and
he came second. AD came third that year.
That year. When was the last time he played at that level?
For a season?
For the whole season. When was the last time he played at that level as a defender?
I mean, you could argue in 2019 he did it again.
He's a great defender every year.
He's great every year.
He's a great rim protector.
And when he's locked in, I think he's the second best drop defender in the league. After Rudy,
he's a great drop defender.
And then in the postseason, I think he's always
been in Bam.
I don't think Bam's that good in drop, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Okay.
I think Embiid is a consistency thing. It's an effort thing. He just has such an offensive burden. I don't think he can give you that level of intensity on defense every single play. No one does it every play, but as close to every play as possible. Like Bam's motor is just going to always be higher on defense. And I think his defensive value just ramps up in the postseason anyway, just because of how much of a paint presence he is. When it comes to like the fast pace of the regular season and he's having to step up and do more things, he's a postseason defender. He's elite. I think he's one of the. When he's dialed in, you can make a case he's one of the 5 best defenders in the league, definitely one of the 10 best defenders in the league. But just over a course of 82 games, I just don't think that's where his value is already captured. And I think AD's becoming the same. AD in the postseason, I'm not taking a defender over him personally. You give me AD.
Nah, postseason Anthony Davis.
How would you rank Giannis, Joel Embiid, and Anthony Davis
in terms of consistency or just
in terms of who, okay, let's lay out the scenario. You go into the NBA Finals. You got a hole at the 4 or 5, and you can plug it with one of these guys, and your goal is defensive, like to win the game defensively.
Wait, you said a hole?
Yeah, like you got a hole.
We got
a front court spot. Giannis, AD, and Embiid. AD is one.
I'll take Anthony Davis, yes.
AD is one, and as respectfully as possible, I'm comfortable with that decision. 2 and 3. Giannis offers me more versatility.
He does.
I think. But Embiid offers me just a paint presence that I don't think Giannis can replicate.
It depends on how good your other 4-man is or your 5-man.
I'd probably go AD, Giannis, Embiid, just because I'm gonna value the versatility when I don't know the situation. I'm gonna take the one who I trust in more situations. But if you're telling me I'm going in a situation where I need a drop big, I'm going Embiid, AD, Giannis. But if you're telling me I need versatility, is AD, Giannis, Embiid.
So I got a question. Why aren't we as critical of Anthony Davis, who, I mean, for all intents and purposes, you saw how Joker had Rudy in a blender and had him struggling. But then we watch Joker do the same thing to Anthony Davis on the way to the championship. Meanwhile, Anthony Davis is still considered the elite of the elite defenders. But Rudy on the other hand, garbage.
I think a lot of that is because of what we've seen him do moments wise in the playoffs. I mean, you have the year before that where you saw how dominant he was, where he was having like 10 block games in the playoffs against, I would say, Memphis. And then the very next series after that single-handedly ruined every lineup you saw from Golden State because of his paint ability.
Remember when the Warriors went to Jermichael Green and thought that was the answer?
I will never forget watching that as a Warriors fan. It was
monkey wrench and everything they was doing.
It was tough.
Yeah, that's why I'm taking him in the playoffs over everyone. The amount of things he can do, like
it's just wild. We can do in the playoffs.
He's a one-man wrecking ball defensively, and that's why I hate when people say versatility is just being able to guard multiple positions. It's so much more than that.
It's not just that.
It's so much more than that, Mars. Yeah,
I don't think AD is the most switchable, but I think he's by far the most versatile defender in the league.
I think one of the issues why do people look at Rudy like that and not Anthony Davis, because I think that Anthony Davis can score. Because I'm on record saying it, and Damo was the one who actually convinced me of it. And the more I watch Anthony Davis, I think that it's official. Anthony Davis he's a defender who can score. That's who he is more than anything. And because he's a defender who can score, the fact that he can score kind of supplements him getting his ass bust because he can give you buckets. So sometimes it evens out. Like, I'm going to cancel out this guy's production where, Joker goes 32, 13, and 7. Anthony Davis will give you, 29, 14, and 6. And it kind of cancels out what he's doing. Even though, if you look at what Joker's doing, Joker fries him. But because he's coming back on the other end of the floor, it just looks better.
Yeah, I mean, AD's never going to get taken off the floor. I mean, people say Rudy gets taken off because of defense when they're wrong. It's because of offense. But because he gets taken off the floor at all, and he's a defensive player of the year, it's like, oh my God, AD's never going to have that problem because of how superior he is offensively.
Agreed.
Also, Rudy just looks weird when he plays defense. Like, we can call it what it is. He just looks weird. Like, every single analytic, and in my opinion, watching the games will tell you Rudy can switch and he can guard on the perimeter better than people give.
It just looks weirder than it would.
It just looks. He looks stupid when he does it. I'm gonna be honest. He looks stupid when he does it, but it works. He's perfectly fine out there. Yeah. 6 years ago, nah. 2018,
not so much.
But now he's perfectly fine out there. He holds his own better than most bigs who people think are better than him on the perimeter. But because he just looks funky and he doesn't look like he has control of his limbs and he's junky, it's like, it doesn't look.
I really think the reason why
it looks bad.
Yeah, I really think the reason why they disrespect Gobert defensively, and this really, really upsets me, is because of how much of a zero he is offensively. If
negative,
he had it,
yes, negative.
Okay, well, yeah. Point is, if he was better than that offensively, I don't think there would be nearly as much hate for him. I always go back to the Terrence Mann stuff. People I don't think really watch that series because it's so obvious that their scheme is to give up the corner three to Terrence Mann, but everyone else is getting blown by. So now, as the paint defender, Gobert has to make a consistent choice. Do I always give up consistent blow-bys or do I yield the three? And their scheme was, we're going to let a rookie player beat us. and they beat them. And then they say, oh, look, Gobert, such a bad. But the real issue is offensively, Gobert could not create consistent advantages against their defense. If he could do that, they win the series.
Yeah, but they talking, by the way. On as far as the defense goes, it's really just like what you said, Morris. Like, and I don't know how many times I gotta say that, but a lot of times people just don't have any idea what they're looking at. They don't know what they're watching when they're watching basketball. They have to use the stats. They have to use the analytics to make it make sense to them. They don't even know what they're watching on the basketball court. You know what I mean? But also, I do want to say this, and it's of no consequence. We don't got to argue about it. He's not a 0 or a negative on offense.
Cool. Yeah. But even the issue is the analytics even point to Rudy being an elite defender. Like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
If you watch the games and you understand how defense works, Rudy's an elite defender. That's the conclusion you should get to.
Everything points to him being a good defensive player.
The analytics point to it. And if you can't watch that, the basic stats point to it. Like, everything points to one direction, but yet somehow the fan opinion is grossly on the opposite end of the spectrum.
It's because he's a bad offensive player.
I've just given up on Rudy. Conversations is just something I'm not going to have with people who just think he's not good. Like, I'm going to pick my back.
Real quick, before you get to the next.
Yeah, I'm just going to pick my back.
Yeah.